Hi, my name is Alyssa Pedersen, and this is Psychology of My Classroom Map. So the first standard of effective practice for teachers I'm going to connect to is connect disciplinary knowledge to other subject areas and to everyday life. And so we talked about this in Chapter 8 of Perspectives on Learning when we talked about transfer of learning. And for this learning to happen, then students must be able to transfer their understanding from one situation or place and apply it in a new and unfamiliar setting. Next, we need to understand that subject matter knowledge is not a fixed body of facts, but is complex and ever developing. And we talked about this in Chapter 7 of Perspectives on Learning with Hurst and Schwab, where they talked about how knowledge is always in the constant flux, and the only thing that is constant in life is change. Next standard is using multiple teaching and learning strategies to engage students in active learning opportunities that promote the development of critical thinking, problem solving, and performance capabilities, and that helps students assume responsibility for identifying and using learning resources. So the first is the flipped classroom, where students watch a lecture outside of class, and then they come to class and do different activities to apply that knowledge. And then they check their understanding and extend it outside of class afterwards. And then also using hands-on manipulatives are great resources for students to learn in classrooms and have a hands-on activity to do. And we talk about this in Chapter 6 of Perspectives on Learning about John Piaget and John Dewey when they talk about constructivism. Next, it's understand how a student's learning is influenced by individual experiences, talents, and prior learning, as well as language, culture, family, and community values. And so we talk about it a lot in 460 about how it's important to display different cultures in your classroom. And so we also talk about it in Discipline with Dignity, Chapter 8, and say that lessons that motivate show relevance to students' lives and personal concern for each student. So I included a couple pictures of good books that I think really help display different groups of people and that I think are valuable in the classroom. The next standard is design and manage learning communities in which students assume responsibility for themselves and one another, participate in decision-making, work both collaboratively and independently, and engage in purposeful learning activities. And so these are some options of flexible seating choices, and so it allows students to move around the classroom to work in groups or to have something to do while they're working so that they aren't as distracted. And then also giving students a choice in what they do is really important. So this tic-tac-toe game gives them a choice of 3 of the activities out of the 9 that they can do. And then also working in groups is really important, which is talked about in Perspectives of Learning, Chapter 6. And Lev Vygotsky and John Dewey both said that learning takes place in social settings and that it's important to work together. And in Chapter 8 of Discipline with Dignity, the lessons that motivate give students a choice in what they're doing. And then here are my references, and thanks for listening.